What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Funboxing with Will. I am your host, Will, with H2O Co. Film and Photo, and today I wanted to talk to you guys for a minute. I wanted to take a step away from the tutorials that I usually do and the tech reviews I usually do to talk about EDC. I've recently had a lot of friends who wanted to get into, pocket knife collecting, just EDC tools and things of that nature. And if you've viewed any of my past videos, you'll know that I am an avid knife collector and other EDC tool collections that I have, like lights, flashlights, wallets, pocket clips, money clips, things like that. So I wanted to kind of do a video breakdown of one of my favorite budget brand name knives, Civivi. They're, in my opinion, a really good place to start, and I wanted to basically just go over a couple of the reasons why I think that if you are new to collecting knives, or if you just really want a good tool that will last you a long time, why Civivi might be a brand name you might want to look at and consider. So yeah, let's get into that video. Alrighty guys, and we're back. Now, before we get into the video, I'm going to take you guys over to my top-down setup. I just wanted to take a moment out to thank all of my viewers, all of my subscribers, and anybody who's just stopped in just for a minute just to check out what these videos are about. I started this channel about 1.5 years ago with no subscribers, and off natural growth I'm up to almost 600, 400 more. I should be eligible for monetization, I think, and I'm just enjoying the journey. I generally do I generally do tech reviews, overviews, and tutorials. Sometimes I'll throw in some EDC in there. But if you're into those kind of videos, you like this, or if you find anything in this video informative, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button, and turn on the bell notifications if you'd like to see future content. I try to put out a video at least once a week, and there's lots of stuff that I have yet to put out that I'm going to be putting out here shortly. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. You guys are why I do this, and I hope that I've given you guys in the past some good information so you know whether or not you want to spend your hard-earned money on these products. So let's get over to the top-down setup, and we'll start talking some Civivi. Alrighty guys, I apologize for this top-down view if it's kind of cockeyed or bouncing around a little bit. This is the very first time I've ever had to do a top-down view. As most of you who have seen any of my other videos know, I mostly just do talking head videos. But today I really did want to get into why I believe that Civivi is one of the best choices out there right now for a good quality EDC knife on a budget. This is mainly for newbies who don't really know necessarily why a good pocket knife can run up anywhere between $150 to $500+. There's a lot of things that go into effect when you talk about the price of a knife, from materials to manufacturing location. Chinese knives are just going to be cheaper than American-made knives. And Civivi is, in fact, a Chinese company. It has been very true, I want to say, up until about the last 5 years or so, that for the most part, when you'd go and get gear from China, whether it was a knife or electronics or whatever, budget-friendly or things like this tend to, you get what you pay for. You don't get good quality if you don't put in that money. And, blade steel and materials, as I said, has a lot to do with it too. Some of these super steels can get ridiculously expensive. For instance, this knife right here is made with S110V. This is a very highly edge retentive and corrosion resistant steel, and this has a titanium handle. So this is a much more expensive knife than, say, something made out of G10 with Nitro V steel, But getting into just why I believe that Civivi is worth every penny and why I think they have some of the best budget knives on the market. Basically, there are certain things that I look for when it comes to a good quality pocket knife. I want to make sure that first, I personally prefer a deep carry pocket clip, which means that the pocket clip here pretty much extends as high as the knife itself, as opposed to something like, say, this, where you have a whole bunch of knives sticking out of your pocket. When I put this one in my pocket, it's hidden. Basically, all you see is this little piece of metal here sticking out of the pocket, as opposed to seeing, you know, everything from here up basically sticking out of the pocket. So it is more discreet, in my opinion, to have a full deep carry pocket clip, and I just prefer deep carry. Fortunately for me, every Civivi knife that I have ever purchased has always had a deep carry pocket clip. They all do. Every single model I've bought, they all have these deep carry pocket clips. And another thing that they do really well, and they get right almost every time, is with their deep carry pocket clips here, they have recessed screws. So these screws here that hold on the pocket clip right here don't protrude up above the knife scale. That way they don't get snugged or caught and tear on your pant liner eventually after a while. They really knock it out of the park with their clips. I really do enjoy their clips. Their precision quality control, I don't believe ever found one that I had an issue with that I had to send back as of yet. I have about 20 Civivis in my collection so far, maybe 23. And they're all great as far as quality control. They're perfectly centered blades. They don't have problems with the blades leaning one way or the other. Another thing I look for is zero blade play. I do not want to open my knife and have the blade wiggly. I want it to be a solid blade and feel like a tool that I can depend on, and a tool that I don't believe will break on me when I go to use it or abuse it. And they have very, very well designed knives. Their fit and finish is so well that the pieces just put together perfectly. A lot of their knives utilize steels that are not super steels, but they're still really high end for ingot steels. There's a lot of information about steel. I'm not going to go into it in depth, but a super steel, basically, you can think of it like the way they make a cake. Ingot steels, they pull out of the ground a piece of metal, they melt it down, and they go to temper it and design the blade with it. And they don't really know the structure as far as like the microscopic structure of the grain of the metal compound, if it's even, if it has weak points in it or whatnot. Whereas with powdered steel, what they call super steels, they take powdered elements such as chromium, magnesium, cobalt, palladium, these different metals that go into steel, and they take powdered increments of them and actually design the steel to do what they would prefer it to do, whether that is higher edge retention, more corrosion resistance. It's kind of a balancing act with steel. You can't have a steel that's super corrosion resistance, but super edge retentive and super tough. It's not the way it works. You have to, you know, kind of balance out to get a well-rounded steel. And for the most part, Civivi uses 9CR13 MOV, which is a very good ingot steel. It's one of the best ones out there on the market. Nitro V is another steel they use, and it's a very highly edge retentive, corrosion resistant steel. Nowhere near as high as some of the super steels. Although they do have a couple models that do offer super steels, with the pintail here. This comes in CPM S35 VN steel, which is the same steel that Chris Reeves used on a lot of his knives for a long time. It's a really good super steel, powdered steel. It's kind of like when they bake a cake. They bake this steel completely even so that they know there's no weak spots in the steel. It's a completely even bake. The mixture of elements in the mixture is perfectly blended, and you're not going to have weak points in the metal, as opposed to with ingot steels where that can definitely occur, which can cause chipping, cracking, and other malfunctions from the warehouse. But like I said, for the steel that they do use, It is a great ingot steel, and they do a great job with it. Their knives handle an edge and hold an edge for quite a long time, which I enjoy. These 4 models I have here are my 4 favorite Civivi knives that I've owned. Now, disclaimer, I don't own every Civivi knife, obviously, but I do own quite a few. Like I said, 20 to 23 or something like that. And out of all of those Civivis that I own, these 4, the Pintail, the Altus, the Ortus, and the Baby Banter, which actually was originally the Wee Banter from the mother company that owns Civivi. They liked that design so much that they made a mini version with cheaper materials that wasn't so expensive for their budget line, Civivi. The things that make these such a great knife to handle for me is every one of these knives is one-handed operation. Also, the detents in these knives have been tuned so well that they fly open with minimal effort. For example, the detents on these 4 knives are just, out of all the Civivis I own, they are the best. They also all have ceramic KVT ball bearings in them, which really helps them be fall shut even with smaller blades, and completely one-handed operation. You don't have to have 2 hands to open them, which is something I always look for in a pocket knife. The Ortus, I believe at one point I would have called it the best budget knife of all time, just because of the quality, the action, the geometry of the blade angle here is it's so functional. It's a hollow grind, so it's got a very thin, slicey edge. The deployment is just ridiculous. It pops out with such authority. I believe it weighs just under 3 ounces with that deep carry pocket clip, recessed screws, skeletonized liners to cut down on weight with G10 scales over the top. Actually, I believe these are FRN scales. Just to keep it, I think I paid $37 for this knife, and this is probably one of my best knives I own in that price range. In that price range, it is absolutely the best knife I own. The QSP Penguin does give it a run for its money, but I still think this one's a little bit better. It's just a great pocket knife. It's got a slim profile, so it doesn't get in the way if you have it in your pocket and you reach in your pocket to go grab something else. It's not hitting your knuckles and stopping you from getting to your products in your pocket, because it kind of tucks itself away in the corner there. It's just a really great knife. I would have, like I said, called this the best budget knife of all time until I purchased this one. Now, this is the Altus. It is a newer model that just came out, I think this month, the beginning of February or maybe January. And it's implementing their new button lock. Now, the button lock it's an amazing locking mechanism that gives you ambidextrous abilities with the thing. You can use it pretty much the same way, both hands. You never have to have your fingers in the path of the blade when you close the blade. You push the button, you close it. And so with like liner locks, like the Baby Banter, you have to put your thumb in front of the path of the blade there to close it. And it's okay, but I prefer not to have to do that. And so that's what I really enjoy about this button lock, is that I don't have to put my hand in the blade path, much like my more expensive knives. Now, this button lock was, I believe, $69, as opposed to, say, my Hogue Deca here, which was a $160-something, I believe. It has an able lock, much like a Benchmade Access lock. Same setup, thumb studs with a ambidextrous lock that you don't have to have your fingers in the blade path to close. I really like that. And the fact that they implemented that so well on this knife, again, with such a great tuned detent that it just flies open with such authority and closes such ease. It's a completely fall shut blade. And it honestly, it reminds me a lot of a ProTech Malibu, which is 2 to 3 times the cost. Again, zero blade play, deep carry pocket clip, recessed screws, skeletonized liners, G10 handles. It is just a amazing knife. And this is in Nitro V steel, which again is a very highly edge retentive steel. It's been around forever. It's been used in pocket knives for a very long time for a good reason. It's just a great knife. Very stainless, does wonders. And then there's the pintail, which is one of Civivi's models that is a little bit more pricey. I think I paid $137 for this one. But it's just such a great design. The detent is amazing. The drop point blade is perfect. It's got such a good belly on it, so you can get tons of slicing out of it. It's got that powdered super steel S35VN steel, CPM, Crucible Metal Industries powdered steels. And it is a micarta handle, again with skeletonized steel liners on a ceramic ball bearing pivot. And it's just one of my favorite knives. It's very functional. It's very it's very slim profile again, and it's something that you're very comfortable using. It's not something you have to worry about cutting yourself with. Solid, easily closed one-handed action. I just love this knife, and I honestly feel that Civivi, along with a few other companies out there recently, have really in the last years changed the market and what people expect for a budget knife. It used to be that these knives right here would have been something that you would have paid hundreds of dollars for, just because the machining, the time it takes to machine something like this, and the technology for 3D milling on parts and putting these blades together has just gotten cheaper and cheaper over the years. So now these companies can actually produce a really high-end knife at a decent price point. So if you're looking for a budget EDC knife that you can count on to last you, I would say close to a lifetime, I would definitely go with Civivi. All of their models, from what I've found, are all great. They have a little bit of something for everybody, from Tontos to, you know, dagger style blades. They have drop points and a whole bunch of different varied designs, and they have different size knives, of course, too. You can get into something like the Backlash, which is a little bit bigger. It's, I think, about 7.5 inches full, so it's got like a 3.5 inch blade. I own that one as well. It was actually my first Civivi, and it just impressed me so much that I ended up buying a couple for gifts for family members, and it really has added a lot of functionality and diversity to my collection, just being a Civivi purchaser and customer. And they really do, they keep up the quality and control with some of the higher ends, like Concept, higher end brand names. Concept, let's see, Benchmade, their Spyderco, Cold Steel, Lion Steel, ZT, Kershaw, Kaiser. These are good quality knives, nothing like a gas station knife. And these knives in particular are somewhere in between the gas station knife and those $200-300 knives. But I say that because their price point is closer to a gas station knife, but the quality is closer to a $200 to $300 knife. And it's just a great company. They seem to have a great warranty on their products for manufacturers' defects from the warehouse. And I've never personally had to use it. As I said, I've had great luck with the specific knives that I've purchased. Recently, I have heard some people say that some mistakes have skipped through and gotten through their quality control. I just have never seen that for myself. So I appreciate you. That's going to be it for today. I really do appreciate you guys coming and checking out this video. I don't do a lot of EDC. Mostly I do tech reviews, but every once in a while I got to throw an EDC in there because I love my pocket knives and I love my EDC stuff. So for those of you out there who don't know a lot about pocket knives, if you're looking to buy something that's gonna last you a long time, that it'll be actually worth the money because you're tired of your gas station pocket knives always breaking on you, this would be where I would start. If you're thinking about collecting knives soon, this is a great place to start. It's a great brand to start with, and you won't be disappointed as far as my opinion's concerned. So again, that's all for today, guys. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe, stay creative, and above all, yeah, stay creative, my friends. We definitely need more of that in this world, and I will see you in the next video. You guys have a great night.
Talk to me nice.